And I know you're super excited that worksheet's not due until Thursday, but there's a second worksheet with other terms. It's a little harder, and it's going to be due Monday. So, I mean, you can be happy that the one's due Thursday, but at the same time, the other one's due Monday. So, I don't know. Only so much happiness. Okay. Let's see. When we were last together, let's back up to what I remember. Let's just do a brief synopsis of things we've learned so far. That way we're on the same page. Plus, there's some words I need to add in. Okay, so we started chapter 3 with response and explanatory variable. Response was dependent, so it's normally like a y, because it depends upon x. Explanatory was independent, so it's x. And we have to identify the response and explanatory in order to actually graph correctly. So when you make your scatter plot and you type a list into L1 and you type another list into L2 or whatever L's you use, you have to pay attention to which one's the response and explanatory, so you end up graphing your response on the y and your explanatory on the x. Otherwise, you're going to mess up your graph. Okay, are there any questions about response or explanatory? Okay. We then talked about, after talking about response and explanatory, we started talking about how to describe. So you get all these points, like from the ball bouncing activity. You use some data, and you need to make a scatter plot. And we talked about that if you have a scatter plot and you want to describe it, DOFS is the acronym we're going to use. D is for direction, positive, negative. O is for outliers, are there any? It's kind of hard to interpret unless you actually have a linear equation on it. F was for form, it might be nonlinear, and then S is for strength. Okay, so Shalia, who's actually out of the room, has been working on the homework from the textbook, and there's a problem in the textbook where you have to guess the R value. You're given different scatter plots. Let me find it. You're given different scatter plots, and you have to make a guess at the R values. And she was mad at it, and I understand why she was mad at it, but she was taking it way too seriously. Well, of course you can't take math too seriously, I guess, but she was very concrete with it, and I was like, baby, we're just interpreting. We're allowed to have different interpretations in life.
For a while.
For now. Here it is. Okay, so I don't know if you worked it, but it's number 15. So let me see if I can zoom you out. Okay. Oh, blurriness. Okay, so is this problem down here? Let me see if I can zoom in on it. And they want you to match correlations. And we talked about, so when it comes to the strength, we talked about the R value, which is correlation. And we said it was strong if R was greater than 8. We said it was moderate if R was between 0.5 and 8. And then R was weak if R was less than 0.5. So there's this problem in the textbook. It is part of your homework that you should be doing. So good for her for getting on that. And she's mad at graph A because of the R value they guessed. Looking at that list of R values, what R value would you guess? It's pretty linear. So I would have guessed either 0.7 or 0.9. She thought 0.7. She didn't think it was that linear. She was mad that the book was 0.9. But again, in real life, on a real test, or for real data, we would actually have the scatter plot on our calculator, or have that chart like it did on your worksheet that gives you everything you need about that line of best fit. We would put a line of best fit on it. Right now, you and I are drawing that line of best fit in our head, hence why we're just guessing. So if you and the textbook are disagreeing on this kind of a make your own guess thing, I kind of understand. Okay. And then so B, she was mad at because the R value was what?
Let's give that a 0.3, negative 0.3.
They're just all over the place.
They're just all over the place, so it said it was 0 because it's not linear, because you can't actually fit a line through it.
Because there's no correlation.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you're saying, I can see a positive line in my mind there, and if I pull down another one in part D, I can see a negative line kind of fitting some of that data, or I definitely see a negative line hitting this, but B, where it was a hot mess, where it was everywhere, like you were saying. Can't put a line to it, so that would be non-linear, and our strength would be weak. Okay. So, we were just talking about you, and how good you were doing about going and doing that homework. We were talking about that problem you asked me about the other day. Now, they could be on the same page, too.
Never heard of formula.
Huh?
Never heard of formula.
Of course. So, no, the one with the R values that you had to guess from the graphs. Yeah, we were talking about why it was difficult. Okay, so, again, you want to say strong, moderate, or weak. You want to say positive, negative. You want to say linear, and then possibly it could be nonlinear. And it's even better if you can point out the explanatory and the response variable. That shows you know what's going on. Okay, so we talked about how to actually calculate that R value. And we spent most of class last Wednesday calculating this R value by hand. What did we learn from that? Calculating the R value by hand.
It's gross.
It's gross. It's book forever. We love the calculator. God bless the calculator for handling everything for us. However, you know the calculator is not going to handle your whole life for you all the time. It's not. It just is what it is. So if for some reason you needed to, I don't know, maybe they asked you a question about interpreting this formula. This formula is on your formula sheets. On the front page of your formula sheet that says R equals, oh look, there's that correlation coefficient. So if you want to calculate the correlation coefficient, the formula is on your formula sheet. So if you want to write in those words on your formula sheet, I wouldn't be mad. So if you actually needed to calculate it, you could by hand, but we learned, God bless us, we would love to not to. Okay, we calculated the correlation coefficient, and we learned that there was a specific word we're never going to use in this chapter. We're never going to say something causes something or causation. We can think it, like with the football game, we thought the more points you had, the better your team did. My team had a lot of points this past weekend, and we won the game. The other team had no points, and they lost the game. I mean, you would say that that's one caused the other, but in stats, we really don't like to throw that word out there. So you can say they have a relationship or an association, but you can't say one variable causes the other. Do not say. Yes. Oh, I can say one led to this, or as long as you don't use that exact C word of cause, I think you can get away with it. But they're stressing, saying the word, there's an association. There's an association between my weight and my love for chocolate. But do we say chocolate causes my weight? It's probably not very nice. We're not going to say that.
Saying it's the correlation, it's not worse. It's like you're trying to be nice, but obviously it's just like not working.
So true.
It's like your doctor can come to you, like, oh, there's a positive correlation with something, your diabetes, something like that. Like,
I'm pretty sure your doctor's not going to say your eating habits causes your weight, but they might say there's a correlation between your eating habits and your current weight. I think even your doctor avoids the C word. See if the next time you go to the doctor, if you can get them to say the causes. Something causes something else.
I mean,
Extreme blood loss causes death.
this is.
They might say that.
Nah, dude,
But if you're having
correlated.
extreme blood loss, Hunter, I'm pretty sure we're not going to see you the next day for you to report back to us. So,
I think sure, you know. These are perfect. I mean,
He was okay.
okay, so he actually gave me his dad, same name, right? His dad, same name. Gave me trumpet lessons years and years ago.
Hey.
So such a small world in life. Okay, so then we talked about if you had a scatter plot, you would love to fit a line to it, and we call that line the line of best fit, the least squares regression line. It has lots of names. We talked about how to calculate it using our calculator, and that's what our cute little fold-out handout was for last week. If you want to reference it. Yes, dear.
Practice stuff like that, because like I struggle, like I don't remember all the steps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I need practice.
Yeah, I think we're about to get to another one practice. If I can wrap up all my words, we're going to get to one. Okay, so if you calculate, Okay, you know how we discussed y'all needed your own calculators? Well, that's never been more true for you than lately, because I've taught my Algebra 2 with trig kids, no, not discrete doesn't need a calculator. I've taught my Algebra 2 with trig kids how to clear out the calculator. So there's potential that your L1 and L2 are completely empty now, if you were using mine, because they were really confused when they pressed graph, and they were not seeing a line, and they were seeing your hot mess of a scatter plot, or some were box and whiskers. They were confused. So does someone have their calculator? Alex, do you still have L1 and L2 saved for something in yours?
I don't think so.
Does anyone have any L1 and L2 values saved in their calculator so I can mess with it?
I gotta think really, really hard.
How do you get there?
Stat and then edit.
I do.
Bless you, Sally. Okay, so we graphed this scatter plot, and then we talked about how to fit a line to it. So we press stat, we want to calculate, and then we actually see something that looks like y equals mx plus b. So that's what we're going to do. Which sounds great, except that didn't actually make the line stick to my calculator. So we had a specific trick that I skipped. So yes, stat, and then linear regression. There was something specific I was supposed to do here. What is that? You have your cute little fold-out handout. That's when we went over it last week. What does the cute little fold-out handout say?
You gotta select that.
You go to bars and then y bars. And then you had to tell it to store it in y1. Yes. Good, Cody. That was good. So let me say that again. So I'm pretty sure second quit. Sally, your calculator's temperamental. Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, your calculator's
One of my
temperamental.
brothers and my sisters know to like this.
Second quit doesn't like to go. Second quit, go away. Second quit. Second off. Whatever, suck it. Okay, stats, calculate, linear regression, and then that's great, but it's not actually going to store that for you, so you have to tell it vars, y vars, and you have to store it as y1, y2, whatever corresponding thing you want to store it as. Otherwise, the cute little line's not actually going to show up. I thought I did it. Why, Sally, why did you not warn me that your calculator hates
I
people?
didn't know there's a problem. I haven't tried this yet.
Why have you not told me that your calculator hates people?
I think it's low batteries maybe.
Burn the calculator.
Solution, twist the batteries around. Stupid
Are you trying to get back down?
Maybe? Yeah. You try to turn it on and off again?
Are you trying to call customer service?
For my TI-80 something, probably not getting any, and they're probably saying, sorry.
Well, hello, my 4-function calculator isn't working.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stats,
right.
second quit, so vars, y vars, function. Okay, clear worked, okay. Why did I not think of that before? Freak. Linear regression. I want to do that. Okay, I want to store you with the y vars function y1 and then press graph, and it's supposed to do it's supposed to stick a line, so it's not
I'm
like
sorry.
silly. Okay, so in my head it stuck a line to it. Okay, so in there, ooh, I might have it. Okay. You're probably right. You're probably right. We did it last week. It was 0.8. Yeah, I'm giving up on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, now what am I gonna do?
Oh no, it's still gonna work. It's still gonna work. I just can't make it do what I want. I can't make it go back.
Go back to what?
So if you press stat and then linear regression, do you have your cute little fold-out handout from last week? The cute one.
Yeah.
That
I
one.
don't know it over.
Okay. So we entered the graph. We did the scatter plot. You already have the scatter plot. So we have. I bet you don't have your diagnostics on.
What does that mean?
That's fine. But Sally wasn't here when we did it. She's not gonna have her diagnostics on.
What does it mean?
I just
fine.
pump every single
Okay,
word.
so go to catalog.
You may do it.
Second.
Wait, how do
Zero.
I do it?
Right there.
I guess I should look.
I don't even drink my spine.
So second, 0.
And then we will go to fresh letter G.
Sorry.
I got it. How do I break my
Wait.
arm?
There's
You can
alpha
pay for
and
one.
beta.
I don't want one.
I don't want.
And
I don't
then
want to
And then
have
go to
one.
diagnostic column.
Yeah, I still don't use my arm.
Yeah.
So,
Just
just
like-
write it down.
Wrote it down.
Okay.
I
And
already
then
tried that, so every time on his back.
okay, so now diagnostic early on. So now I'm gonna go to stat.
Over the shoulder.
You're gonna
It's like,
calculate.
oh, yeah, it's like, oh.
And then go
I went over
to,
right.
yeah, you want to do
Like
your
you guys
guys'
do the
for
big
that one.
piping, like for
And then
No, I was up on his shoulder, like
And then
sitting on
press
his shoulders.
stat.
Like, oh, you're getting off? Yeah.
Second.
Like, okay. And then I go,
Bars.
I'm a good friend.
Roll of Y bars. We're going to store it as a function in 101.
There's one that's like you.
Whatever. Stored.
that's not.
Almost hit this.
What do you call it?
That wasn't it, but the rest of it was.
Oh, that's good. He just threw me over his shoulder, and I was just like, okay.
I'm done.
Yeah. I landed on there for the rest of that movement. And then I got off for
The rest of that movement.
yeah, and then I got up to bring him home.
Scatter plot.
He was there at the house.
Fresh graph. So you already had to live.
Was this guy in person?
You already had it typed in, calculated that stuff.
Yeah.
So you got a
I hope
phone,
neither
you
of you
got
were
a
lying.
life. Step
I
4
think
was
he
diagnostic, on to do that. Step 5 was to
Yeah.
like your guy said,
Not for-
calculate linear regression. Regression. Then it says,
Can you start cute when you walk on
probably just go down.
Okay, then we don't have to do this if I have.
This is my space.
With an 83. Anyone with an 83? No, 89.
So no one is.
Yeah, because Alex, you have step 5 yours. We agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so with Alex, we go to stat, calculate linear regression, and then look, he has more options. Like he can store it. So we gotta Google how to store it with an 83. Because when he stores it, he puts it in round 1, or puts it wherever, and then when he presses graph, it aligns it.
I'll pay you both this stop.
Not funny.
Is that in your?
Negative
budget?
4.
Sure, yeah.
That means, yeah, that means we owe him money.
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
going.
That's you, everyone money there.
Yeah, not factual.
I didn't also calculate that.
I like talking about
Very nearly so.
So when I put this, and then it's this, and I press that.
You ever like stretch real good and feel nice?
I did go to bar and then told him to
Every day.
but I didn't press, you have to actually press, like, you have to calculate.
No, how'd you say?
Well,
No, so it's on.
I pop every
think
single
it's
time
like-
just now. I'm like,
On
oh.
more.
No, it's like just if I turn just this much, pull back.
This is.
So I don't want. I just want to bring